Welcome to another exciting episode of the Decatur Dish. I am your host, Decatur-ish editor and founder, Dan Wisenhunt. I'm joined today by our assistant editor, Zoe Seiler. Zoe, how are you today?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
Can't complain. So we're going to do a special segment this week. It's going to be called Zoe Seiler, Explain It to Me Like I'm Five, where I ask Zoe to take very complicated concepts and simplify them as much as possible so I can understand them. I have a noted handicap. I grew up in Alabama. I got a degree from the University of Alabama. My comprehension skills are sometimes deficient, but Zoe is around to help us out with these complicated tasks. So we're going to get her to explain some of the things that are going on in our community in a way that I can hopefully understand, in a way that you can hopefully understand. So with that, we're going to initiate what I like to call Zoe's Midwestern Conversation Vortex, where we get together and we have a long-winded conversation that doesn't seem to end about stuff. With that, Zoe, planners in downtown Decatur on West Howard. You see them when you're driving.
Yep.
They look like Easter eggs.
They do.
They're cracked and broken. Explain that to me like I'm five. What's going on with these things?
Well, I first just want to say, explain it to me like I'm five is one of my new favorite questions. It's just a great way to break the ice sometimes when you're talking to people. Also, I am from the Midwest, and we have this tradition that we're known for where it's like you're saying goodbye, 20 minutes later you're still talking, and the next thing you know it's like an hour later and you're like,
I've been on the
"All right."
receiving end of that tradition a number of times.
Yeah, I just felt like that needed a little bit of context. But yes, the planters in Decatur, we all see them. You either love them or you hate them, but hopefully they will be...
to steal them.
Or want to steal them, but they should be removed soon. So the city is taking some steps to move forward with their project for that. So it was combined with the Atlanta Avenue project. So they're going to eventually also be redoing the railroad crossing right there. It's like an awkward Y intersection now. So they're just going to make it kind of like a normal intersection. Everything's more perpendicular. And so since some of those streets intersect with each other, West Howard Avenue got combined with that, and so the Atlanta Avenue project has just taken a lot longer to get forward. I think just with moving utilities and getting approval from CSX and all that good stuff, and so they've separated it and gonna be taking some steps to at least do the Howard Avenue part and remove the planters hopefully sometime soon.
What does perpendicular mean?
It's a good question, Dan. But basically, they're just going to make the intersection look almost kind of more like a T intersection, like a normal intersection that you would see when you're driving around.
Throwing some geometry at me.
Oh, yeah, I try.
It's over my head a little bit.
You know, me too. We're journalists. Math's not my strong suit.
What's going to happen with these planners when they go away?
I'm not exactly sure yet. I don't think the city has quite figured that out yet. So I've been told I think whatever their financial policies say, they'll make sure it's in line with that. But all I know is that I want one so badly just for the nostalgia when they're gone. So
I want one.
We'll see.
I want to grow tomatoes in one
There you go.
on my back porch. Please, Decatur, make this happen. I've done so much personally to bring attention to these planters. I feel like I'm owed one. At least I'll take the most cracked one that you have. I'll put some duct tape or some gum on it, and we'll plant some maters in that sucker. Moving on, next topic. Explain it to me like I'm five. The US 278 road diet in Avondale Estates.
Yeah, so Avondale Estates has started construction on US 278. It's the highway that goes all the way through downtown Avondale, and they're basically making it into more of a destination, more of a main street. So if you're driving along, you also might know it as College Avenue or North Avondale Road, or I think a little farther down it's Covington Highway, but it's all the same thing. And they're doing a road diet, so they're reducing the lanes from 5 lanes to 3. And then on one side of the street, they'll have like a 10-foot path, and on the other side, they'll have a 5-foot sidewalk. I think on just part of that south side. Because eventually the abelia hedges start, and those will be left alone. They're not replacing all the plants that are right there. But so construction is underway, and it started at Sam's Crossing, or the Willis apartments are right there. So it's starting there, kind of working section by section, going down the street. So I think they're going down one side down towards Ashton Place, which is a little bit past City Hall, and then they'll come up the other side and kind of finish at Sam's Crossing again. So
Why is it called a road diet? Are we shaming 278? What's going on here?
we are not shaming 278 at all.
278,
It's
we
just,
love you just the way you are.
we do.
You are worthy and you deserve respect.
Of course. So it's basically just another way to say they're narrowing the road. Just so it's pretty wide right now. They have 5 travel lanes. So instead of having 5, they'll have 3. So it'll just be just a little narrower.
What are abelia hedges?
That's a good question. It's all I know is it's some type of plant, but Avondale Estates is kind of known for the plants that they have.
All I know is it's some type of plant.
It's like some type of flowery bush or something, but it's kind of right now. It kind of separates the downtown area and the commercial areas from the residential area. But
Love it. We can do deep dives on these topics. It's abelia hedges confirmed. Some kind of plant.
you know, you didn't ask me to do that type of research beforehand. So.
So 278, isn't the county doing some watershed stuff in the area that's concurrent? What's going on with that?
Oh yeah, the county was doing a watershed project right kind of at the same time. I think it delayed the start of the construction just a little bit, but as far as I know, they were on kind of one side of College Avenue, and then they had to cross to make it over to the other side. So I think watershed is done working on College Avenue for the time being, and they're moving on. But it did really impact some of the local businesses right there. So they came to a city commission meeting recently, and we're just saying that I think some of their business is a little bit down, but we plan to follow up with them a little later on and dig a little more into that.
And how are they paying for the 278 project? Where's that money coming from?
I think some of it is, I think they got some federal funding for it. It's a GDOT project, so I believe GDOT is also providing some funding, and then I think the city as well through like their capital program.
Next topic, Zoe, missing middle housing.
Yes.
It's a big one. Explain this to me like I'm 5.
Yes, I love missing middle housing. So in Decatur, I guess it was just last year, the city commission changed basically kind of the laws and the ordinances in the city to reallow duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes in the single family zoning area. So in the residential areas of the city, for a long time, basically you could only build a giant house. Well, maybe not giant, but you could only build like a single family house. So now you have a few other options for that. And so the city is, they own a property at 600 Commerce Drive. So it's kind of that like almost abandoned house at the corner of Commerce and Ponce. So that house will eventually be demolished, and I think right now the plan is to build a quadplex, so it would be the same size, kind of the same layout as a single-family house. I believe it'll be basically the same footprint and the same location as the house that's there. It just would have 4 units in it instead of one big house.
And these are supposed to be affordable? That's the idea?
That's the goal. I think when they say missing middle, it's kind of that option in between a single family house and like an apartment or like a multifamily unit. So I think because it will have multiple units, the hope is that it will be more affordable.
How many of these things have they built?
I think they've finished just one so far. So they had limited some of the permits in the applications at first. And so I think they had 3 to begin with. I believe 1 is just finished or maybe nearing completion, and that one's a duplex. And they also have a couple others that are being built, and then the city is working on their project. And then there's also one that will be right next to it, kind of by the Decatur Cemetery. So I believe that one it's almost kind of 2 parcels of land. So I believe there will be 2 quadplexes, so 8 units in total right there.
So they're not exactly rushing to build these things.
Yeah, not from what I've seen. I don't think so.
There was a cap on it too, was there not? They initially capped the number of permits at a certain amount just to study the impact, or did I imagine that?
No, you did not imagine that.
Okay.
So when the city commission amended the zoning code, they had put a cap on it. So they said it was 3 permits per like elementary school like zone. And there's 5 elementary school zones in Decatur, so it was 15 in total. I think just to kind of limit it at first, because this was kind of a relatively new thing in the last like 40 years for the city, or about that there. And yeah.
Zoe.
Yes.
Last topic. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Construction at Legacy Park.
Yeah, there's lots of exciting things happening at Legacy Park. So, for people who may not know, Legacy Park used to be the United Methodist Children's Home. So, it's located on South Columbia Drive in Decatur. The city purchased it in 2017. So, the Methodist Children's Home it started off as an orphanage and then kind of transitioned into more of like a group foster care situation. And
It started off for Civil War. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
It was for Civil War orphans.
Right. Yeah, and so now it has transitioned to be WellRoot, so they still offer foster care services and a lot of other family services. And the city now owns Legacy Park, so it's 77 acres. So it's just a big green space in the city. And so part of it, they have one corner that is dedicated to a Decatur Housing Authority project, so that's the South Housing Village. So construction of that is underway. As far as I know, I think they were doing kind of some of the site development, and there were 4 duplexes right there that had to be demolished. And so the final project eventually will be 132 units of affordable housing. So I think it'll be a mix of like apartments, quadplexes, and duplexes. So I believe they are starting, I think, on the apartments in this first phase. So they're doing 66 units in total.
And those are going to be online when?
It's going to be sometime. I think sometime probably 2025 for that first phase. And then eventually they'll start kind of moving on the second phase as well.
Why is Decatur involved in creating affordable housing? What's their interest?
I mean, Decatur for a long time has been known to not be that affordable. I mean, I believe the average housing cost in Decatur is in like the 700,000 or 800,000s. So it's very expensive to buy a single family home, and I think a lot of people really cannot afford that. And same thing, I think, with apartments. Like when I was looking for apartments at one point in Decatur, even a studio apartment in some of the ones downtown anyway was like $1,800, and that's just not necessarily affordable for some of those kind of middle incomes. And so the city and the housing authority are working to just provide some more affordable options and hopefully get new people to move into the city.
Why is Decatur so expensive?
Honestly, that's a great question. I don't really know. But, well, I do think part of it is I think a lot of residents especially will complain about the taxes when tax season comes around, and especially for the school taxes, those tend to be higher than the cities. So that seems to be kind of the main thing, but I think most of it probably is still just market driven and depending on, I mean, we are in the metro Atlanta area, so.
Bonus topic. Zoe Seiler is from Iowa. That is in the Midwest. Your people have an aversion to flying and a predilection for long car trips. Explain that to me like I'm 5. What's the deal with flying? Why can't you just get on an airplane? Why do you insist on these long 24-hour car trips?
To be honest, that's a really great question, and I don't know that I have a good answer for it, but sometimes it's just easier to hop in the car and drive for 15 hours versus pay, hundreds of dollars for just a 2-hour flight. So, it's just a great way to spend some quality time with your family in a very small space.
How many hours have you logged personally?
That's a good question. I mean, my family and I drove down here when I moved, and then my dad graciously drove me back down here after Thanksgiving. So it's been a few times of that full 15 hours. So it's probably been maybe 3 or 4 times that I've taken that road trip.
Bonus question. Why are you still hanging out with us at Decatur? You clearly have better opportunities. You could have gone on and do anything you wanted. What keeps you hanging around and working with us and our team?
Well, you do keep me pretty entertained on a day-to-day basis, so I appreciate that. But in all seriousness, I love the work that we're doing. I love being in Decatur and Avondale Estates and learning more about DeKalb County, and very passionate just about keeping our readers informed. And I'm a sucker for a government meeting, and so I feel like, a city government is the closest form of government to you, and not a lot of people necessarily pay attention to those city commission meetings, even though they are making a lot of decisions. And so I like being able to be the person to be there and then to let people know what's happening in their community.
Being a reporter is an awful lot like being an Alcoholics Anonymous, because there is always a meeting you can go to if you want to.
I mean, yeah.
That's very, very comparable. Well, Zoe Seiler, for people who maybe haven't seen this show before, Zoe Seiler does so much for us. Our elections coverage just would not happen without her. Zoe continues to be a great ambassador for Decatur-ish and the brand, and you know, people like what she does. She's well known in our community, and Decatur-ish wouldn't be Decatur-ish without her. So we really appreciate you, Zoe, and all the good things you do for us. This is the Decatur Dish Show. We are here every Tuesday on Atlanta News First Plus. We air at 12:30. You can catch us on the Atlanta News First Plus app on your phone or your streaming devices on your TV. For all the latest news, visit decatorish.com. And to become a supporter, visit supportyourlocalnews.com and subscribe and support all the great work we do over at Decatorish. This is Decatur Dish Show. We'll see you next Tuesday at 12:30. Goodbye, everybody.